Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Abhijit. I represent VIA as entrepreneurship forum convener. Today is the day two of our program, Navigating Crisis, and we'll be hosting three amazing folks with their initiatives since the Corona crisis started. We have Anubha from Girl Script, we have Akash from Coronathon, and we have Raj from Riddle. Uh, we know that innovation has always been the key for what India has been able to progress in times like these, and we've seen a lot of amazing folks doing very incredible initiatives. But some of these guys that I personally know, I've interacted, and they've been doing amazing work. We're hosting them today. Uh, we'll have a series of discussions, first starting with Anubha, then we'll go around to Akash, and then finally Raj. We'll have a couple of Q&A in between their sessions, and I'll expect you guys to be like share about your stories and how you came across doing these amazing things. So Anubha, starting with you, I think the Girls Script project has been active for about 2 years now. You've been
Yeah,
doing amazing work, and I'd like you to share more about the education outreach program that's been going on right now.
yeah. So I'll quickly start with the backstory and how we come up with the program. So after the lockdown, there were a lot of students who couldn't go to college. Their studies were missed, and they were looking for something with online education. But already, as you know, that there are pre-existing platforms. But what we felt is there was no interaction with the students. So there were nothing like live streaming classes or live classes, so that mentor can interact with the students and in this tough time they can talk to each other, they can meet other people from different parts of the world, and that was the main motive behind starting this education outreach program. And we also wanted to train teachers. So there were a lot of teachers who couldn't join the online classes, or they have problem with conducting online classes. So what we decided to do is we decided to teach not only students but also teachers through this education outreach program. So we did around 5 series of this program. Like first two were called COVID coding program, where we live stream courses, and then we also added around different other courses which were non-technical, like fitness, or you would say personality development, online profile building. So even we also took in some of the startup ideas and started with entrepreneurship development class. Around 25 to 30 courses in the span of time and impacted around 8,000 students. We also taught around 100 plus teachers from different colleges and schools so that they can conduct online classes. And not only that, but also did an signed an digital MOU with around 5 colleges across India. And from these 8,000 students, we have participation from 15 countries. Like it was not only for Indian students, but it was for everyone, open for all. It was free of cost, or you can also donate to the organization. So this was our motive, to bring everyone together and give them a ecosystem where they can interact with the mentor. They can talk to each other via Discord, so that we keep them engaged in this tough time. Because most of the students, as we saw, were wasting time here and there because no classes were going on initially. Like nowadays, the colleges have started taking online exams, but earlier, when the lockdown just began, there was nothing going on. So we decided, why not utilize this time. The next phase, right now, what we are planning is to collaborate with different companies and bring the expert mentors from different companies and give them a give them a beginner's approach about something or some domain that the students wish to go in. For example, if I talk about game development, so we are collaborating with Unity directly to give them a focus area and give them a starting point of being a game developer. And like that, we are collaborating with different companies now to bring in the best people in their community and help as much as possible. So this was done from our end, and really looking forward for the next phases and what more we can do. And yeah, that's all.
Yes, thank you, Anubha. That was amazing. So, how did you go about like reaching out to so many students? This has been like, or what kind of courses did you run? How did you figure which courses would really work in something like this? Anubha, Anubha, can you hear me?
No, no. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
saying that how did you go about reaching to these many students, and
Yeah.
what courses did you specifically run?
Yeah. So, how we reach the students is mostly via LinkedIn because a lot of students are right now active on LinkedIn. So, we got some of the ambassadors and people and volunteer who wanted to work with this program. So, what we did is it was all impromptu because we had to change all our offline plans that we were doing initially. So, that's how we started. Like we found out the volunteers via LinkedIn. We made a Telegram group and it was all impromptu. And then we told everyone that whoever wants to join in this program, we have a target of teaching these many students. And if you wish to contribute, you can just join in. And we found a lot of bunch of good people, and already in our community we had different people who would like to mentor for different domains. So that's how we come up with the mentors and also with the participants, and then they brought more and more students from different colleges. For example, we had volunteers from IITs, from Delhi University, from South Indian colleges as well, from North India. Like everywhere, we spread a word across. So it was all organic. Like we didn't do any kind of marketing or invested any kind of money, but it was all organic reach. And we the main motto was to find out those interested people who want to utilize this time. The courses ranged from fitness and health to coding and data structure and algorithm to Flutter development, and like that there were different sort of courses, around 30 courses. And yeah, so this was the range of the courses because initially we just started with data structures and algorithms, Android development, and like that sort of courses. But after that, one point people also started asking about non-technical courses, or whether we can teach fitness or whether we can teach English speaking to these people. And that's how we come up with the idea to bring in more and more courses and bring in more experts from different domains at one platform so that they can interact with the students and go ahead with giving them a guideline. So for example, if in the pandemic they get a path to where they want to go after the lockdown. So this was our main motive, to just provide the path to all the beginners who are looking forward to make a career later on. Yeah. What were the courses free? Yeah. So initially, what happened is, for COVID coding program where we had like less participation, we charged around 350 rupees. But then for education outreach program, it was completely free of cost, and you can donate rupees 20 to support each child. So that was the campaign that we released. So initially it was 350 rupees, but later on when we started impacting students in number of thousands, it was completely free. You can just donate 20 rupees for it. Yeah. If
Right,
you
right.
wish to. Like it was not a compulsory donation. Yeah.
That's amazing. Like I think that that changes the way we see education in general. Like I think a lot of universities right now are struggling how to do classes, how to conduct examinations, and all of that. And
Yeah.
here you are, like pretty much. I think you hosted enough students to fill in an entire institute. Like I think about 5,000 people that you reached out to across these verticals.
Yeah.
What? How many students were a part of this?
How many students? So we till date we have impacted around 8,500 students.
What?
Initially 500 students through COVID coding program, which was 350 rupees, and later on we increased the number of classes, we increased the number of courses, seeing the response, and then we started taking thousands of students because we had to also prepare with the with the accounts like social media, like the live streaming platforms, and
Right.
in between some problems also occurred. So we had to choose the best platform to deliver the classes, to record the classes, and also give it back to the students. So we took a gap, and then we started again, and then we took around 1,000 students in first batch, and then 2,000 students in next batch, and now we are taking 500 students for the digital marketing class that we are doing in the third batch. Yeah.
That's amazing, amazing. So I think this is also a learning for a lot of colleges, a lot of institutes, a lot of universities on how can they really like
Mm.
make education at such a low cost that
Yeah.
you guys have been providing. Like we know that
Yeah.
education, we've been constantly telling or complaining that our education is not good enough,
Yeah.
or we
Yeah.
need to reinvent certain things. I think there's a meme that has been floating around recently, that what caused the digital transformation in your organization, and like it's not the CEO or CTO, but it's COVID.
Yeah.
And I think the similar stuff has happened with education
Yeah.
also. So what do you think?
Yeah.
Like, will this will the experiment, I think I'll call this what you did as an
Yeah.
experiment probably,
Yeah.
will this
Yeah.
experiment that you did will
Yeah.
change the way we look at education in the future, or like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I think because of this COVID and because of this pandemic situation that occurred, even an illiterate parent or someone whose son or daughter is working with a MNC, or if they are studying in a college where online classes are happening, and if they have come back home, so this will create an impact on the parent that okay, everything can happen online. And also if they are talking to their relatives via video call, or if their sons or daughters are not available on the with them, so they are speaking with them on video call. So now parents which had a perspective like why you are taking mobile phone, why you are using laptop so much time for so much time, so now they will have a change and broader perspective that everything can happen online. Even you can talk to people, you can order groceries online, you can take help online, you can also get all the news, and you can talk to each other online, you can also learn online or work from home. So I think now India is completely ready for online scenario or edtech platforms, because now is the case where everybody, or mostly like most of the people understand about what is going on online. At least everyone from a middle class family understands this. And even if I talk about below poverty line students, so there is a NGO called Nav Gurukul, which has girl students residential program in Bangalore and also in Dehradun. So we also conducted classes like special education outreach program batch for 5 courses to these BPL students, and we tried to help them during lockdown via conducting online classes. We taught them Python, and now we are also collaborating with one more foundation called Hope Foundation, which was partners with Nav Gurukul, and they decided to conduct classes for their children as well, which do not belong to the privileged section. They are from underprivileged background. So not only the middle class, upper class already knew about importance of online education, or connecting with mentors and everything, but now all other people will also come into this domain and understand the importance. And definitely now the edtech scenario will change in India, and people will realize the importance. And what we have done, definitely it was an experiment to see how many people, because earlier we only worked with offline communities, events and everything. So it was our experiment to to see how many people want to learn online. And many of those students didn't know how to join an online class. They didn't know what is Slack, what is community, how you can talk to people in channels, but we told them this is how it happens. And definitely it has changed the scenario, and we wish that more and more people join the ecosystem later on. So it has, I think, definitely conducted a revolution towards online education in India especially. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely, I completely agree on that part. um,
Yeah.
so I think, yeah, that's been amazing. It's really like I'm proud to hear that like something like this is coming from Nagpur specifically, and you've been doing amazing things at such an age. I think many congratulations on that part.
Yeah.
And there we see like I think there's a lot of change that's happening across in these
Yeah.
in the education sector specifically, and I think this change, I hope it stays permanent and more innovations like yours come in the picture, and people get to know what things are happening across the world. And I think this is going to change the way we think, the way we
Yeah.
educate our future generations
Just
and actually
want to
yeah.
Yeah, just want to add one point that we got so many requests from Nepal because in Bangladesh already some of the tech conferences and something like Unity's game developers or Google developers conferences are happening, but in Nepal I don't see any of the progress. So we got so many personalized emails and queries on LinkedIn from Nepal students that please include us, and there was a huge participation from Nepal as well. So all the adjacent countries to India, I think there is a huge scope for anyone looking to go forward with their online education, because what all experiment we did, if I think the quality and everything is good and we bring the industry experts actually into the scenario, I think there is a huge scope in this domain. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I think what you're doing definitely impacts to a lot of low income societies and also developing nations, primarily in the SARC. I think
Yeah.
this is a very scalable model, and definitely you should explore with a lot of partners that are
Yeah.
in different communities. I think all the best to you. Um,
Yeah.
I
Thank
think
you so much.
now here we see the way Anuba has been working across on the education part, where people are learning skills, technical skills, non-technical skills, in terms of getting the relevant mentors and getting industry folks who can guide them on how to build certain things, how to create projects, how to solve problems. And that's where we see the real innovation happening. And even like another part of the innovation that we've seen is hackathons in the country, which solve a lot of problems locally. And I think uh, our like our next guest here, Akash, has been doing amazing work with him, like with his team, with the Coronathon project. It was like I've been part of both Girl Script. I taught like an entrepreneurship project there, and with the Coronathon project also, I've been quite closely associated, and it's been amazing. Like I think it grew just from a few hundred people to about 3,000 people within a matter of few weeks, and there were several projects that came out. A bunch of them got support through different entities. The entire team hosted it completely online, remote. People from teams, and it was really heartening to see the kind of impact that came through the project. So Akash, I'd like to share I'd like you to share more on how did this entire thing come into existence, and what were the learnings, what really worked out for you guys.
Sure. Thanks for that introduction and providing out some details about the initiative. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just quickly run through these slides, which are just to sort of help you visualize the kind of things that happen. So Coronathon itself was an online hackathon which ran for about a month, starting from 22nd of March to 21st of April. That's the time that we actively sort of try to run it. Um, and it was different from a lot of hackathons that you may have seen. So I'll just quickly run you through the backstory first, and then probably get to the experiences. So how did it start? Well, it started simply with a tweet. Paras Chopra is the co-founder of Wingify, and a lot of people in the tech ecosystem follow him. So he had seen a similar hackathon that had happened in Europe, and he had this idea that hey, India's tech community is itching to do something, so let's just start with something. He put out a tweet. Okay, so he put out a tweet, and then something amazing happened. Like he had basically created a Slack group, which was supposed to, help with collaboration, communication, all those things. And what eventually happened was around more than 1,500 or 2,000 people actually joined within a few days. And I was one of those who had joined within the first few hours. And so at that point, there was no real organization or even any structure to it. Then what happened was slowly some people, just tried to help out, and a kind of structure came through. And there was a website, there was an online discussion channel, Slack that I already mentioned. And by the end of it, 2,800 plus people from the tech industry have joined the initiative, and many more external collaborators were present, right from a lot of MNCs, startups, government. We even had sort of people from WHO, India chip in, the India sort of directory. And the amazing thing is that 100 plus ideas were pitched, and a lot of people who had never worked before together, they all came to work on these ideas, including the organizing team, right? Like we call ourselves the organizing team simply so to provide some structure to it. We are sort of these bunch of volunteers who decided to sort of put some structure into the whole event, and that's basically what we were doing. Like one of us had this status that basically what we do is chase people to fill out forms. And for the first 3 days, basically that's all we were doing. We were trying to make people fill out forms, put some structures, divide people into skills, like integrate Slack with some tools so that people can fill in forms and people are able to find the right projects to work on, things like that. And it was really chaotic initially, but within a week we had some sort of an order. And by the end of it, we had 40 plus projects launched. And this demo day format was somewhat inspired from the way a lot of startup incubators do things, that kind of a thing. And we had a bunch of learnings by the end of it. And this is probably the most important bit. So it was supposed to be a hackathon, but one thing which we realized pretty early was just going by first principles, we didn't want it to be very competitive. We wanted to promote collaborations as much as possible. So initially there was some thought around coming up with a structure where we have hierarchy of positions like first prize, second prize. There were even people willing to sponsor, but eventually we scrapped the idea altogether, and we were just like, hey, we have demo days, we'll ask people to present their projects. Okay. Is my voice audible? I see in the chat that someone's saying that it's cracking too much.
Yeah, there's a little disturbance. Right.
Is it audible?
Yeah. I think maybe you can speak a little slow. I think that should do the trick. I think there might be some internet issues.
Sure, and then keep it slow then. Okay, so I'll just reiterate the learnings then. So the hackathon, I'll just rewind so that anyone who didn't get it because of the voice is able to. I'll also turn off the cam. Okay, so it was supposed to be an entirely volunteer hackathon. A lot of people came together. There was also initially some talk around, people coming up to sponsor the winners and those kind of things, which is what you will generally think about a hackathon. But we decided very strictly that we don't want it to be a competition. We all that we cared about was putting out projects which are able to help with COVID. Basically lessen the impact in any way possible. Another thing that we had decided was that we wanted to go with projects and we wanted to help out projects which were able to have an impact urgently. There were people who were, let's say, proposing to build ventilators and those kind of things. And even though that was a great thought, but we also realized there are a lot of regulatory hurdles, and it may not be the best platform, or may not entirely be prudent to pursue that kind of a thing and at such a initiative. So we prioritize those projects which were one, able to have an impact very urgently, and secondly, they were able to they didn't get into the regulatory hurdles and those kind of things. We also focused a lot on delegation of responsibility, since a lot of people, they were meeting for the first time. Not everyone had ample bandwidth to contribute at times, so we wanted some people to take leads. So we had this concept of project leads, where anyone who proposed the project, they had to pick it up and they had to take charge. Even if they were not able to be there all the time, they had to define the goal. They had to define the internal processes that will happen in the team, and that happened very organically. We, as the volunteer organization team, we just nudged them in the right direction. And another important thing was, we wanted to respect the space for those who were volunteering at the time. So almost no one was working full time on this. Everyone had another thing going on. So we were very conscious of the limitations, and we tried to respect their space. And another very important thing was, since it was so chaotic in the beginning, we also realized that it was very important for us to establish some processes. And by processes, I mean just having the right channels on Slack, um, or just telling people that we will have demo days, so that they have a milestone to work with, because otherwise it would have been very open-ended, since there were no prizes or something like that to look forward to. And also because everyone was just working with each other for the first time, so they needed a sort of goal to work towards. And we also
we lost your voice in between for a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you just
Until what point were you able to hear?
Just the last couple of sentences.
Sorry.
The last couple of sentences.
Yeah. So got it. So basically, what we realized was, since it was so chaotic in the beginning, we needed to establish some processes and milestones very quickly, and we wanted people to get on board to the tools that we wanted to work with. So again, we got the project leads that I had earlier mentioned. We onboarded them onto Airtable. We made sure that they understood Slack very well. And we also made it very clear that the demo days are there so that you have a goal to work towards, and you should really rally your team towards that. Even though there are no prizes, we'll have external collaborators ranging from government officials to Google coming in, and they may be able to help your project. So you need to be very cognizant of that milestone. And we also initially realized that we need to let go very quickly of what didn't work. So initially there around 2,000 people had joined the Slack group, and there were around 100 projects. And initially, during the first couple of days, what we tried to do was match people to projects based on their skills that they had mentioned in the channels. And we soon realized that that was not something that could be done easily. That wasn't scalable. So we quickly let go of that. So those kind of things. These are the learnings. And we concluded the Coronathon because we had, by that point, launched a lot of projects, and we realized that adoption is going to be the big thing rather than launching new projects. And the Slack channels are still there. The website is still there. If anyone wants to, just get in touch with any project, they can still do that. We still check on the teams in Slack every now and then to help anyone out. And I'll quickly run through some of the projects that were launched. So there were projects which connected hospitals with medical suppliers. They were They were basically projects which help with contact tracing. There were projects which help with COVID tracking. They worked with government. They worked with health officials. They also collaborated with countries outside India. Couple of them sort of got started partnerships in Europe as well as Japan. And we also had some scientists joining in and tried to put their work out there and establish partnerships. So this is in a nutshell what happened, and we were very happy to see this through. Yeah, so this is basically it. I apologize about the audio problem. It's probably because of the bandwidth. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was it.
no problem. So yeah, it's been amazing to see what you guys have accomplished. I think I've also interacted with a lot of these projects. Very dedicated folks, and I think some of them have made it a point to really take this forward. What are your thoughts around, like, do you see some of this potentially becoming like startups or any volunteer initiatives or things like that? Like, what are your thoughts around that? Or have some people already started doing it?
Yeah, yeah. So a couple of them definitely they are going in the direction of having a viable startup. Particularly, a couple of them in the healthcare space, another one in the retail space, and a couple of them are still growing as we speak. As volunteer initiatives, they're establishing partnerships with governments and companies. So yeah, not everyone will be able to do that since it is a tough thing to do, and a lot of them tried their best but were not able to sustain the project, which perfectly fine, which we realized it's perfectly fine for them to do that. And to answer another question, did they apply in government's challenge for COVID? Yeah, some of them did, and some of them did get in touch, and a couple of them did successfully get integrated with state level mechanisms and state level COVID war rooms. So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So yeah, I think this is also in certain ways re-established the way hackathons could also be run. I think we in the hackathon or the innovation space, what we've seen is like a typical cookie cutter model. Like you do like a weekend hackathon, or you do like a challenge, and then you ask people to solve it. That's how it's been. But then I think Coronathon was an experience where people actually came up with their own problem statement. They formed teams. It was like a very different approach that even I've seen. Uh, uh, I've seen how hackathons have been running. Uh, do you see more of this happening, or do you see a change that this particular process will bring forward?
I definitely think this is a great model for running a volunteer-driven initiative like this. One thing which really helped was having a strong sense of purpose, against COVID. So it was an exceptional circumstance. So that's why people, gave it their all for a longer duration than they would have otherwise. So if we can recreate this sense of purpose, on a regular basis, that I think this is a good model to go through, especially since this has been proved at least once here. So yeah.
Definitely, I think yeah.
And,
Yeah, so I think yeah, that's a learning for a lot of people going forward, and I see the kind of innovations that have come up, the way people have formed teams, and I think a lot of friendships, a lot of potential startups, a lot of potential ideas have begun. A lot of volunteer initiatives have now begun through this, like uh, through these 4 weeks of your hard work, and I see it going a long way. I think something like this would be useful in the future, where we could even, I think. While we talk about the new normal that is going to exist uh, after this after this pandemic situation, I think we need a lot of innovation, a lot of thinking hats that people will have to put on and really reinvent the way things have happened in the past. And what you've been doing, I think that that's another example that this is how things could be done. And it's like kudos to your efforts, the entire Coronathon team. I think what naturally follows like is getting some of these innovations out there in the market and getting them really uh, to succeed either as startups or as volunteer initiatives. And that's where we see someone like a Riddle coming in. Um, and I think what what Riddle team has been doing over the past several years is helping a bunch of student startups, a bunch of different startups to come forward, mentor them, provide them with the right kind of expertise, help them with funding, help them with connects, and it's they've helped launch a lot of startups right from the idea stage, and some of them doing amazing work out there. So we have Raj from Riddle today. Raj, would you like to share what has been Riddle up to in this situation? I see you've also launched an accelerator program, and maybe if you could share more details on top of that.
Sure. Hi, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah. Hi, Abhijit. Thank you so much for inviting us. And yeah, so I'll basically share about Riddle first. So Riddle is a research and incubation center in Mumbai. So we have started operation in back in 2010, and it's been 10 years now, 10 plus years, and it was like really going good. We had supported 100 plus startups, but due to the current situation, everything was stopped at once. Like initially, it was very difficult. The first 7 days, nobody knew what to be done. Like we were the first one to stop coming to the office. Around 12th of March, we stopped coming to our office, and then everyone was like, "What to do?" It was pretty roller coaster ride, and yeah, initial days were difficult, but later that we started calling our startups just to check on them, like how they are doing, and everyone was like doing okay, doing well. Some of the startups who had manufacturing thing had completely stopped their work because they were not able to go to the office. Some of the food startups also had to stop their operation because of the same reason. So we started asking everyone, like, what can you do in this time? Like, how can you best utilize this time? So the answer was like pretty similar from everyone. Like they they were interested in doing some kind of a kind of research on what their business is in, or attending webinars or seminars that can increase their knowledge to run their business. So that's why we wanted, like that's how we understood, like this kind of program is needed that can cater to all startups need. And that's how we came up with an idea that we can launch an acceleration program which can be completely online, and all of our startups can get benefit out of that. So that's how the idea came through. And like, so startups had similar requirement, like they wanted some sessions on leadership, they wanted some sessions on branding and PR, some wanted sessions on marketing, how to get the customer feedback properly, how to manage them, how to improve your customers life cycle, the journey, etc., how to raise funding. So these were the common topics that we got from everyone, and then we planned the layout of the entire acceleration program. Yeah, so we wanted this to uh, we wanted to give this opportunity to other startups as well, rather than just giving benefit to our own startups. So we launched it live. More than 60 startups registered in our program. There was a condition that the product has to be ready, or the prototype has to be ready, if you want to be the part of this acceleration program. Yeah, so we shortlisted 12 startups out of the outside 60 there that they have registered, and total 34 startups are currently attending the acceleration program. So there has been 2 sessions already. If I can share my screen. Yeah, so if my screen is visible. So yeah, so these are the sessions that we planned through. Like, so leadership and legal, both the sessions have been done Monday and Tuesday, last Monday and Tuesday, and these are the sessions that are coming up. So I intellectual property session, developing business model, distribution, supply chain, branding, PR, marketing, customer feedback management, business development, growth strategy, investment types, and fundraising. These are the broad sessions that we'll be covering too, and this is the schedule that we created. So this is a tool called Airtable, and we created the entire session over here, the entire session plan over here. Yeah, and total out of 34, 12 were outside startups, and rest of are like Riddle's own incubated startups only. Yeah, and we started having team calls daily to plan this out, because planning an acceleration program is very difficult in terms of calling up the investors, calling up your mentors, uh, getting their time slots allotted to your particular schedule that you have set in. And we did it in just 20 days. So in 20 days we were able to pull off the entire program, and like, yeah, it's going good right now. And after two speaker session, we are having one specific mentor session where you can ask your doubts in advance, and then mentor will come a particular day to solve your doubts. And after every week we are having the review sessions. So the review sessions are conducted by our own team, so that to understand like whether you have got anything from the sessions that were delivered by the speakers, or you have still any doubts regarding the particular topic of leadership or legal or whatever. So this review sessions would be helpful. We feel that startups are coping well with the program, and just to track how well they are doing through this program. So this is pretty much what we did. And like, I want to share the speakers as well on this. Yeah, yeah, so these are the experts that we were managed to get through. Yeah, and we took help of a lot of interns that are incubators in university, Somaya University. So we got 2 3 interns to help us in the operation of the program. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this is like seems to be quite detailed and really helpful for a lot of young startups to go forward and utilize the skill sets and provide like the services that you guys have been providing. I think getting mentors and especially in a situation like this, I think it's very important for startups to understand how to go forward, because I think that's the question in everybody's mind. I think a lot of startups that primarily miss on are smaller things in the process, like the way government has been changing regulations, or the way the market has been shifting, what works, what doesn't work, what might work. So I think that has been really helpful. I think would you want to share like some of the uh, what some of the startups are doing and how you're really helping them out?
Sure. Yeah. So we have actually mixed of start. mixed bunch of startups. So everyone is like people are from different fields. So we have a startup like Connect Club, which is a social platform for investor and startups. Yeah. So we helped them during this by getting these startups. The registration form went through Connect Club. So in a way that the Connect Club was held even before the acceleration program was started. Yeah. So that is one case study, and the other startups like so for example. Startups like Dental Joint, who is the website where the general dentist can search consultant for their clinic, right? So these startups had the prototype ready, and what we are offering beyond the acceleration program speakers are like in-house expertise that we have in Riddle. So we have in-house MVP development team, so minimum viable product development team. So 4 of the startups who have the prototype ready and they want to move towards the better products. Yeah. So our MVP team is helping them to migrate from the prototype stage to the final product stage, and we are connecting them to a lot of startups who are into the tech space, who can develop the product really good. So we are connecting them through that.
Right. So yeah, I think uh, that's that really works out for a lot of startups. Like I think the specific MVP team that you mentioned, I think that's a unique service that I've seen that you guys are providing, and I think it's missing from a lot of other incubators, accelerators out there. Uh, and also, like considering that the shift right now that's happening in the industry, have you seen like a rise in startups that are more specific to healthcare, or is your incubator accelerator like moving towards specific, like moving more specifically towards healthcare related projects? Like what are your current focus areas?
Yeah. So healthcare was one of our focus areas since long. Right now, the applications that we are getting are really kind of a mix. So we haven't got any COVID-related applications, and certainly like the healthcare numbers are like not big. So it's eventually flat curve as of now for us, for our incubator, because our specialty was the hardware and IT. Yeah, so probably
Exactly.
that could be the reason. Healthcare is fairly new. Our bio incubator was also set up last year only, fully fledged, and maybe that could be the reason. But yeah, we are pretty excited to cater to these healthcare startups in near future. Yeah.
Right. And like, since you mentioned that, yeah, I know that Riddle has been one of the first few hardware incubators in India. And like, what do you see like the future for these hardware guys? Like now that we are seeing a lot of retaliation towards Chinese companies or China in general, I think that will also impact a lot to these hardware companies. So, what any thoughts around that?
Yeah, so even we are not sure on like when the lockdown will be over and when will we get back to our labs and do the stuff, do the laser cutting, do 3D printing. Yeah, everyone is waiting for that. Like we have like couple of programs that are catering to this prototyping development. Like students come and learn about how to use laser cutting machine, 3D printing machines. So we have this program called Skillet in place, which was due in this month. So right now, what we are doing is we are doing an online course to teach them how to, use softwares like SolidWorks and other softwares, which are used in 3D printing and laser cutting machines. Yeah. So initially we are doing that, and once the lockdown gets over, we'll quickly go back to our work.
Yeah, I think yeah, everyone's waiting for that, and I know like as hardware guys, we really keen to get back to our machines and start working on top of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so thank you for this. I think I'll get back to some closing thoughts now. It has been an amazing discussion, like right from learning skills to implementing them in like through a hackathon in certain applications to then actually converting that to an accelerator, like into a startup, and then through an accelerator program like yours. I think this is the exact circle that we want to bring forward, and help connect these dots forward, and see if these innovations, if these students can actually build something that matters in the future. I think that's what, even for us as an organization, that has been a focus area. Like, can we bring around those collaborations together? And I think a platform like this really works out. So I'd like to get some closing thoughts from Anubha and Akash also. That how do you see the work that you've been doing in the past month or so? How do you see this moving forward? Uh, or maybe anything else that you'd like to share based on your learnings. Anubha, Akash.
So, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, if you can share, I'll just add it to the stream.
Okay. So, on the closing thoughts, I just want to share like few feedbacks and what more we are bringing in upcoming days, so that like people who would like to participate now can utilize this opportunity to maybe participate or give their thoughts on this opinion or whatever, whoever is listening. So, um, yeah, my screen is visible, right?
No, no, not yet.
Okay.
Uh, yes, your video is visible now. Can you share your
Okay.
screen? Yeah. Akash, do you want to add some comments
Yeah.
in the time we have Anubha share a screen?
Yeah, so I mean, just a couple of closing thoughts. One would be that there has been a lot of talk in the past about online collaboration or education being tough, like having a lot of friction. However, what the last 1 month shows us, be it like any of the initiative that was mentioned, was that if you have a good enough sense of purpose and a set of driven people, like I mean, it's not that big of a problem. However, you need to mix that sense of purpose with some decent processes in place. Otherwise, it can get pretty chaotic when you're trying to move something from offline world to online. So purpose plus process, I mean, that's one thing. And other than that, specifically for the initiative that was Coronathon, or I mean any similar initiative. I mean, just reach out to people if anyone thinks that there's something they can add value to, or someone who can help you out. Like, just reach out. I mean, it all started with a tweet where someone reached out, then we reached out to a lot of people. A lot of people reached out to us, and everyone was willing to work, like I mean, together. So I mean, that's all that my closing thoughts are, and yeah, hoping that we get through this all safe and sound.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I think that's how we also connected. Like with Paras, like we hosted like a weekend hackathon, I guess on 22nd of March, and we had some very amazing ideas that came up there. And the very next day, I saw Paras tweet that, okay, we're hosting Coronathon. Can people join us, work with us? So that's where I thought, like, let me see what value can like we add there, or what our learnings were. So I think that's how things came forward. And even right now, like, I'm continuously speaking with a bunch of the innovations that came out, especially with the the fight fake news team, uh,
Yeah,
doing really well. We also connected with
Zishan. Yeah.
Zishan, like a very very committed fellow. It was amazing to have him. We helped him through some connects, and getting some credits through Twilio and all. I think even Sandeep's the COVID numbers
Yeah,
project, yeah. And even I
it
think
started out. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Also, I have a call with the COVID FYI team today. They're also doing some amazing work. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's I still see action on the group even today, like whatever limited capacity. But I think that will keep going on, and I think maybe if there's a second version of the acceleration program that the Riddle team shares, I think it would be a great collaboration between Coronathon and Riddle also. I think that would be amazing to see.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I feel this time is for innovation, right? So
Yeah,
every world crisis gives an opportunity for innovators to innovate something
yeah,
and can get big. Yeah. So it's really great that great to have the panelists that have doing the job of enablers to give a platform to these doers to make the innovation happen. Yeah.
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 Uh,
Um,
uh,
Yeah, yeah. So actually, I was not able to share my screen due to Firefox settings that I'm using right now. So it will take a lot of time and I'll have to reload all the tabs and everything. So I'll just sum up quickly with what I have in mind. So initially, like along with the education outreach, I want to give shout out to all the community people who, like from Girl Script Chandigarh, they did a series of webinars, all the webinars, and they collaborated with companies like Microsoft and whatnot, and they brought out their engineers and head of global internships so that people can know how to get internships in this crisis situation and everything. So around like 4,000 to 5,000 students were impacted alone by Chandigarh and Mangalore teams who were doing this TechNext webinar. And the webinars, I could have shown this, but the screen sharing is not working. So Technical X Factor was the name of the hackathon conducted by these people. Along with that, if you go to Girl Script Foundation's LinkedIn page, you will see a lot of feedbacks given by students and also shared their startup idea, or maybe if they had worked on a PR. So we are also running this Girl Script Summer of Code program. Fortunately, like it runs in these months every year. So we are also helping all the students with open source development, people who don't know about Git and GitHub, and they can come up and contribute to open source projects. So right now what we are focusing more on is we have started two initiatives. One is like in education outreach batch 3. We are taking 500 scholars. So if you are interested, you can become a scholar, and we are focusing more on profile building. So the name of the course is how to become next gen influencers. And if you are interested in online profile building, you can join this scholarship program. Apart from that, for people who are being laid off recently, or maybe they had an internship or job offer, so we have recently started taking all their contacts and their profiles, and we are sharing it with companies in our network so that we can place all these students who were laid off in the pandemic and has priorities like submitting EMIs, or have bills dues and everything, and they urgently need the job in this pandemic. So there are many companies who are hiring online employees, and therefore we wanted to connect these people together. And this is I think pretty much what we are doing. And if you want to see or what feedback and whatever we have created in these days, you can definitely go through the page. And definitely, if you have any companies which would like to hire through this initiative, we are not charging anything, even to the person who are applying as an employee, and someone who is employing them or giving them opportunity. So we are not charging anything, so you can take advantage of this. And if you have been laid off in the situation of this pandemic, you are welcome to fill the form. And yeah, so definitely to conclude, I believe that a lot of my startup founder friends and everyone in the community are worried, definitely, who have an offline kind of channel to sell their products, to talk to people and everything. So but I believe that if you can modify your idea or customize it in some way so that you can monetize it in some way. Not sure whether you will be able to get that sort of benefits and profits that you were making earlier, before pandemic, but I am pretty much sure that if you would like to help some of the initiatives, you will definitely find the help back, and somebody would like to help you with your cause as well, and we are in this together, and we can together solve this problem of COVID-19. So I'm really looking forward to all the innovations that people are bringing onto the table, because also working with Indian biomedical hackers and Motwani Jadeja Foundation closely. So working with their hackathon and also with all the projects, I am really sure that we will bring out more feasible and customizable solution on table, and hoping for the best. Yeah, this was all on in my concluding notes. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Anubha. That was amazing to hear. So I think this has been really a great discussion. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you for everyone who watched. We'll be having an offline a video of this shared with all of you guys. Will be up on YouTube and other channels. Maybe you can share it with your friends. I think a discussion like this will only help more innovators to get connected with you guys. And thank you very much for the discussion today. Thank you everyone who joined in. Uh, yeah, have a good day.
Thank you so much, Abhijit. Have a good day. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much. Stay
stay
safe.
safe, everyone. Thanks for having.
Yes, thank you, Akash.